welcome on board Hemang Jani as well, who's joining in on the show. Hemang, let's get in your thoughts then on Cummins. There's a recent report from HSBC saying that there's very strong growth. They've upped their target price to about 3,300, saying that across markets and domestic, it's looking strong, but exports are bottoming out. Your thoughts on Cummins and anything else that you track within the space?
We do like Cummins and the entire space. And if you look at the quarterly results, this was the one of the few companies that reported good, solid set of numbers, and the outlook in terms of growth also has been extremely good. So this would be one stock that we would be very comfortable, buying into even at these levels. We think that the entire growth, both from India and to some extent global markets, is going to sustain for at least about 12 to 18 months. Valuation wise, not cheap stock, but given the growth trajectory, people would not mind buying into Cummins at this point of time.
Right. Hemang, if someone wanted to play the power story or, look at that segment as well, we're expecting good growth here. What is it that you would suggest to play this energy theme, green energy, or the power theme and the demand trends that we've been seeing there? How should one actually be playing out that strategy? What are you looking at there?
So it's been a theme which has played out extremely well. And given the government support for the solar panel and green energy and the EV, I think this story will remain, in the limelight for another maybe 2 to 3 years at least. So within large caps, I think the best bets that one can really look at are, Reliance Industries, Tata Power, Adani Green. These are the names where we think that given the overall positioning that these companies have, they would stand to benefit. Apart from that, Linde, which is a mid-cap stock, which has a very commendable kind of a story and walk on the green hydrogen, and also given the new investment that they've done in semiconductor, could be an interesting bet to look at. So I think there are niche plays that one can really look at when it comes to this theme.
Let's move on and talk about another sector that we want to highlight is in terms of metals. Hemang, when you're looking at the metals pack, what is it that one should watch out for? There were times during this week that we saw a run-up, sharp run-up coming in, and then again a fall that came back in the metals pack. So anything specific that you would want to play out in this story of the metals pack, or something that you're avoiding, or what are you doing with the metals?
So metal has seen a smart rebound in the last 3 days, mainly on the back of the data that came out from China. While the pricing scenario for certain metal, is good. Let's say, for example, copper and aluminum. At the same time, the iron ore and the steel-related products, the pricing is not that encouraging. But if I have to play metal theme at this point of time, I would rather go with something like a Hindalco, where the pricing scenario is better, the numbers were good, and I think the concerns that people had relating to Novelis are now almost discounted in the current price. So Hindalco would be one stock that we would be comfortable with. Apart from that, Nalco, which is a PSU stock which has gone through its own correction, I think can give a very smart pullback of about 15 to 20% in the short run.
Petronet LNG as well as NMDC in focus. Let's just drop the, that entire list of some of the biggest small cap losers. Now, it's interesting to note that already, while the small cap index hasn't seen much of a damage coming in, of course, it's been the worst performer out of all the key indexes, but about 10 to 12%, Kunal, that's been the kind of fall from its 52-week peak for the index.
Yeah, I think it's 14-15%.
14-15%. Yeah. Okay, but even in that 14-15%.
But the low was tested last week. So we are not at a fresh 52-week low.
Yeah, we're not at a fresh 52-week low, but from the 52-week highs, we've already lost about 14-15%. Correct. But outside of the index, it's interesting to note what the composites have actually done. Now, almost 30 to 50% of small cap stocks, or rather almost 16 stocks have seen a 30 to 50% correction in the entire small cap universe. 43 stocks have already corrected a good 20 to 29% from their 52-week highs, and about 40 names are down 10 to 19% from their 52-week peaks. Some of the biggest small cap losers now, while there are of course special situation names like an IIFL Finance, which has lost about 52 odd percent, but look at Campus Footwear, look at Tanla Solutions. These stocks are down 43 to 38% from their 52-week peak. Look at names like NBCC. We are talking about this entire infrastructure theme. NBCC has actually fallen 38% from its 52-week peak. Angel One down 34%, VIP down 36%, KRBL another 38% of a downtick, PNB Housing is down 33%, Deepak Fertilizers is down 32%. To my surprise, PVR as well is down 32% from its 52-week peak. Hemang, in this entire slew of weakness and crack that we've seen within small caps, anything that's looking interesting to you or anything where you feel the correction is now overdone? Quite a few names there, NBCC, Angel One, PVR.
Yeah, Aisha, I think the cut across the mid cap, small cap, and to some extent even large cap stocks has been quite sharp. And what was surprising is that this has happened despite the global setup being so strong, where the US market, we've hardly seen any correction. So this entire underperformance was at the country level, and where it brought it sharply. To my mind, it was due to some extent because of the way the exuberance and the retail participation was coming through. I think when it comes to cherry picking some of the stocks which have corrected, I think some of the defense stocks like BEML provide a great opportunity. Some of the hotel stocks, Lemon Tree, Indian hotels do provide a great entry point. Healthcare has corrected quite sharply, 20-25%, primarily because of Supreme Court ruling. So Max Health is something that we like. So I think there are a whole host of themes and pockets that one can look at. The only thing is that we will have to do a little bit of due diligence, because if we only decide basis 30-40% correction, but if the stock had already run up quite a lot and even after the cut it is not cheap, then probably it will not make too much of sense. So do some homework, but it's time to accumulate these names.
Right. And as interesting is the name of some of the mid-cap losers as well. From those March 11 lows, we've seen Paytm, or rather highs. Paytm has fallen 58%. Again, Paytm, Z, both these are special situation names. But a Bandhan Bank has fallen 35%. Devyani is down 31%. IRFC, RVNL, even Vodafone Idea has fallen a good 31% from its March 11 peak. So some interesting names there. And, Hemang, that brings me to the point about PSUs, especially within defense and railways, because I think the first signs of this sell-off within the broader end of the market started with these two sectors, right? Do you now see value emerging here?
Yeah, I think defense is something that we've talked about. I think the opportunity there is far larger. Just to give you a small example, recently there are talks that the F-21 planes, some components are going to be manufactured in India, and we all know how big that opportunity could be worldwide. There are about 4,500 F-21 planes. So I think across the different categories, the opportunity is going to be large. We have very one or two players, maybe something like BEL, HAL, and couple of more. So I think this is a core theme that one should surely look at. Railways, I'm not a big fan of that theme. I think it is overhyped. So for the timing, we would surely avoid that at this point of time. But PSU banks, I think they have corrected quite sharply, and the numbers this quarter, Q4, some of the banks will report very solid numbers. So BOB, Canara, State Bank, I think these are the names that we are comfortable buying into.
Thank you so much for joining in with us, Hemang, and giving us your views this morning as well. It's always a pleasure having you on the show.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.